Hello everybody, welcome to the 2023 Canadian Triple Crown Series Motocross Nationals preview show. Billy Rainford with Greg Poisson here, the Fish. Thanks for hanging out, Greg. We got a lot to talk about in this 250 class.
Yeah, it's probably the deepest 250 class I think we've ever had. I really think there's 5 to 6 guys that can win motos, and I mean there's 10 to 11 guys that can fill that top 10 in any way, shape, or form. So, it's a lot to talk about. Yeah, well, let's do it like you were saying before we started rolling there. We'll do it kind of in groups, because we kind of got that, like you mentioned, we have a group of guys that we think can win. We got a group of guys that are going to be in that 5 to 8, and there's some new guys that we're not sure about, so they're going to be coming in. So there's a few ways to talk about this. So let's, like you say, we'll do it in the groups here. So we'll talk about that first group. We might as well start off with the last year's champ, but he's injured. Yeah.
We're talking about Ryder McNabb, had that leg injury, but he's coming in. What do we got with him?
Ryder's back on the bike from everything I heard. I talked to him today actually in person. He was at Gopher, not riding, but he rode yesterday, and then he was actually flying out from Hamilton back home. He's got a nice little scar on his foot, or his ankle I should say. Not 100%, but he's definitely not looking too bad. He's back training and riding, so he did lose a bit of time, of course, but he's back to business as usual.
All right, and a kid like him, he went down south, racing the big American Amateur Nationals, turning tons of heads. Everybody down there, if you talk to them, they would say, listen, this kid's going to blow everybody away up here. So he was looking fast, obviously. He wants to race in the States. I guess he's got one more year on his contract, and 1-year deal, and wants to go south. I know I've heard that he wants to definitely head south again and make something happen down there. So he won't be coming in where he wanted to be. Maybe mentally, a bit of time off gets that fire burning even more. He's young, so he's probably that way anyway. But
yeah, he's definitely full of the energy for sure. And it was funny to see him in the GDR shop today. With Piccolo there, and everyone's being, Ryder, how's it going? And Jake's right there too. And they're going to be the ones I think really battling it out.
Right.
It's kind of a neat dynamic to see.
Right. So we might as well let's talk about him next. Jake Piccolo won the year before, 2021 MX champ. New team. They swapped teams. Now he's on the GDR team, Dylan Wright's teammate. There's lots of stuff, lots of benefits for that for him. A guy like him, the most fun guy to watch you're ever going to see ride a dirt bike. Can he win this thing as well?
100%. Yeah, I don't have the GDR Honda Fox hat on for no reason. I'm a big supporter of that team. I think Jake's definitely the guy to beat, in my opinion. I think he's, last year was doing well, but this year's the program's all new, all different for him on Hondas and good bikes. And not saying he wasn't on good bikes before, of course, but they have a good solid program there where he's around Dylan all the time. Under Dig's watchful eye, and just really keeping him honest. So there's no slacking off there at all. So I think he's going to be good, and especially he's got the experience out west, being a Western kid, but he's been riding Gopher. As he goes east, he's going to be just as good, I think.
Right, and I think it's cool, like you mentioned, because like you say, you're close to those guys over there too. You're over there all the time, and they have to almost pull him off the bike. The kid likes to ride so much, he just rides. Like he just loves it.
Yeah, I know that they schedule him, like they tell him, hey, these are off days. You have to take days off the bike because he just rides all the time. Like whether it's a pit bike, which he's got a pretty cool little pit bike. It's on today, a CRF 125. He just wants to ride all the time, whether it's 250, 450, pit bikes, whatever he wants to ride. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's again, that's a problem a lot of teams don't have with their riders. So it's cool to hear they just wants to keep riding and riding. And then last year, came up from New Zealand, riding for the Partzilla PRMX team. Josiah Natsky came up, won the first 4 motos. We were like, wow, blew us away when he came up here. Now he's coming for the full series. Raced Supercross for the first time this year. Josiah Natsky, another guy we're putting in that top group of guys who can win this thing.
Yeah, Josiah's going to be solid, and okay, yeah, he's going to be solid. He's going to be that guy that's going to win motos. He's going to win motos regardless. He's going to win overalls. He's a bit older than the other younger guys too, so he's got a bit more of a mature attitude, we'll say, just because he is a bit older. He's been all over the world racing and has more life experience. But we saw him when he cleaned up those first 4 motos, and then it kind of had a bit of a mishap at San Lee. But he's going to be good. We saw him on the 450 at Walt last year. Was like a guy that's like, holy smokes, he might be able to beat Dylan.
I think he's a world-class rider. I think he's got a calmness about him too. That it does take some aggression, obviously, in the 250 class, but I think he can ride that fast but still stay in control. Like I think he's a guy I think he's a world-class talent.
Yeah,
so I think,
agree.
And the fact that he was getting gate drops and learned a lot. I mean, it was pretty humbling for him to go out there and race Supercross. I mean, obviously I got to see him racing it, got to talk with him and stuff like that. So he's looking forward to getting back to the outdoors. I think he's got the speed to take wins. Like we're talking about, we're putting him in that first group. It's going to be fun to see for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely for sure a moto winner and overall, and I think that will put him round by round. He'll add up the points and he'll be there at the end.
Right. Okay. Now we got to also talk about Mitchell Harrison. He was a 250 Triple Crown, which includes our Supercross Arena Cross Series. He won that. So him, I mean, obviously he's back with the same team. Loves it up here. Loves being with Tyler Medaglia, hanging out. He's become we brought him in as a Canadian, man. He loves it up here. He's a Tim Hortons guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's like I say, he's not as flashy. He's kind of like a Natsuki, right? He's not whipping it, scrubbing it, and doing all those different things. He's just a consistent guy, where he's always in the fight, but you don't even really notice him sometimes. It's not a dig at him either. He's just consistent. He's consistently consistent. He's just always there, and that's what ends up being. He was second in points last year, and then won the Triple Crown because he did indoors as well. I mean, the team's got a new rig this year. They've got more support. T-Dags, he's under T-Dag's wing when, he's learning
golfing together.
Golfing, riding woods, building jumps, doing whatever. I don't know what those East Coast guys do, but he's, he's enjoying. Yeah, he's eating lots of pastries and baked goods, but he's enjoying this time. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to still be up there again, and he'll be there. Like I said, you finished second last year, and if you asked me if he finished second last year, I would have said no. Because he didn't ever seem to be the guy that was winning motos and killing it, but he was just always there.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's probably what he'll do again. We'll wait to see. Again, second year on the program, loves it there. Knows our stuff now, knows our tracks, knows how our races work. He'll be more comfortable heading into it. Obviously, he's very comfortable with the team. So I think, if anything, we're going to see him, only better would be to win it. So
only one spot to go from second is to first, right? So we'll have to wait and see.
And now, obviously, we have to talk about this guy. Two-time champ, moves up to the 450s, retires. Gets the idea. They get, let's come back, race the 252 stroke for the KTM team. Okay, he comes back. Having some gremlins with the bike. They've decided not to go with the 252 stroke. Talking about Kevin Benoit here, of course. He's going to be a 250F guy like the rest of them. We got to throw him in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think KTM and those guys there did a really good job with their marketing because they just wanted to spice up the off season. We're all sitting here in the winter and cold, and all of a sudden, hey, let's race a 252 stroke, and everyone's freaking out about it.
Two-time champ back.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and they said, actually, no, psych, we're going to race a 250F, and I think that's going to be overall. They've got tons of time with that bike, and I mean, he's going to be up there as well. You can't ever count him out. He's older now. He's got responsibilities, different things like a kid, and getting older, that happens. So does he have that pin it to win it style? No, he doesn't have that anymore. I'm sure he doesn't. You just don't as you get older. But he's going to be one of those guys like a Natsuki or Harrison who is going to
I agree, yeah.
to be smart about it and be in there. Okay, am I going to be able to get this moto win? No, but I'm going to get the overall. Stuff like that.
He'll be okay with getting a second or third. Whereas some of the kids will just go,
they'll bury it just for the win and end up getting fifth or sixth.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the consistency that adds up over the season.
All right, so man, that's a busy top five, and now dropping down for the Walton Kawasaki 7 team, we've got Tanner Ward, raced 450s last year. He's dropping down to the 250 class. Man, is he in that top 5-6 group? I mean, we've got him kind of in the next on our list.
I'm going to put Tanner in the top 5 as the season progresses. Hasn't had a lot of time on that bike. He did really well at Walton when he dropped down randomly last year, but to be in there at the end, those are guys that have all raced 250s the last couple of years. So being on a 450 last year, did really well on it. Kind of came to his own, was a solid podium guy by the end at times. But I think we put him later on, and as the season comes east, he'll get better. I think he has had limited time on that bike too. So I think he's going to be one of those guys that gets better as the series comes east. All
right, yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. Like I say, he was really strong last year at when he was going to double class it. Qualified way at the top, kind of with in the 250. Both he and Tyler Medaglia dropped down to the 250s for fun, and Tanner didn't race the 250, but and did very well in the 450s. So we got him mixed. And funny thing is, the next guy we're going to talk about finished third in the series, and we're looking at him in down here in seventh person we're talking about Sebastian Racine. I mean, here's another. He's a kind of our sleeper guy. I mean, he could come out and turn some heads.
Yeah, he is a sleeper for sure, and that just shows the depth of the class, right? He finished third last year, but I don't put him in there. There's so many guys that can win motos. Seb almost won that one at Sandali last year. Now, ironically, he's on the MX1 Sandali team. KT is all about good times, good vibes, big hugger. Big hugger, big happy guy. And I think maybe Seb's going to really kind of flourish under that and do well. Because it's a good vibes team. They've got a new rig too, which is cool. Nice to see some more rigs coming into the series. I mean, the less trailers, more rigs. Does that make us look more legit? Kind of. But I think they've got good bikes. Alan Brown's building those bikes up, making them absolutely dialed. Just super good. And Donk being there as well, getting involved with the tech side of it behind the scenes. They've got a solid program.
All right, now that's kind of our first little grouping there. Sebastian, is he in that top one, or is he in the next one here? We're going to talk about guys like next. We got Quinn Amiot, we got Wyatt Kerr, Jair Mitchell, Dylan Rempel, like in this little grouping here.
Yeah, it's the 6 to 10 guys, and then we kind of throw Tanner there at the beginning, and then move up later. Like it's just so deep. I can't keep saying that. It's so deep that we've got Quinn Amiot spent the whole winter down south. Training, riding. I don't think he
did some Supercross even. Yeah,
I don't even think he even stopped riding. So he's going to be fit. He's out west right now testing with the Manluck team. They got XPR building the motors. They're going to have super solid, fast bikes. I think they've got that really figured out too, because I know they had some demons a couple years ago, and then last year they did dial things in.
They did.
And then looking at that, we've got like Wyatt Kerr. I consider Wyatt to be he's my dark horse pick to jump into that top
jump
5.
Into the next. He's a guy
I think he is. Into it? Yeah, I think there's going to be times where if he gets a good start, he's going to be there at the end, especially as he gets further on in the series with Priority MX, the KTM team there. Peter's very involved with that team, giving Wyatt pretty much everything he could need to be his best. So I think that's what else more could you ask for other than having a big rig and all that stuff, which really isn't necessary to do well in a motocross race. So I think Wyatt's really gritty. He's going to really want it, and he's young too, and I think he's going to be my dark horse for sure.
All right, yeah, again, that's a tough little group there with Wyatt Kerr. We also had Jair Mitchell, a guy he raced Futures. I saw him at one. He was the next fastest guy after the top kind of factory kids that are going up, moving up. He looked great. He had a bit of still battling his wrist. I mean, that's what kept him out for the past little while. He's been south of the border. But he's up here in Ontario. He's riding. He's racing. He's got speed, man. I put him in that group as well for sure. I think he's going to, if he's fit, if his wrist is good, he is going to be chipping at that top part too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have much to go off like historical data. That's the only issue, right? Is the numbers don't really support that. He's been hurt a lot. As you say, he still kind of is hurt. So is he going to be in top form? I think if he gets a good start, maybe we'll be there. But I mean, I can't even tell you the last time I saw him race was, I said, COVID Supercross at Gopher. I think that was the last time I saw him race, which was 2 years ago at this point. And things haven't gone well since, other than seeing him at Futures and whatnot. So him, and the next up is Dylan Rempel. Dylan Rempel had a great start to the season last year.
He's a 15-year-old, so let's not forget that.
Yeah, and he was 15, and he looked like he was 15. Like he didn't look out of place on a KLX 110 when I saw him at the Mini Bike Nationals last year. He was tiny. He was small. I think that kind of bit him when it came to racing the longer motos, bigger bikes, stuff like that. And now he's definitely grown a lot. He looks much better on the bike, much bigger. He's with the PRMX team. Julian's giving him everything he can. He's kind of the next guy to come up to that team, which Julian's doing, some Supercross and moto guys, as well as and Dylan to come up too. So if Dylan can remain healthy, he's going to be a solid top 10 guy at all times. Maybe cracking into that 5 to 8.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about 11 kids so far, riders, and we got kind of two groups to mix together there. So it's kind of again, like we say, the 250 man. You don't want to turn you don't want to look away from this group. It's going to be fantastic. Like I say, top 5 or 6 are going to be interchangeable throughout the year, we think.
Yep.
And then behind those guys, filling out the top 10, 11, they're all going to be kind of battling too. And like you say, kids like maybe Wyatt Kerr can maybe jump into the next one.
We'll see. Yeah, somebody has one of those top 5, 6 guys have a crash, first turn crash. You can fill in with any one of those next few guys. I think that's going to be your solid top 10 for the most part, and then we obviously have a group after that can mix in. I think any one of these guys from the 6 to 10 are going to be able to jump up to the 1 to 5 range at any point with any mistakes, and then obviously the next group we're going to talk about can jump up to that 5 to 10 range, 6 to 10 range, whatever we call it.
Yeah, okay, this next little group we need to talk about here too is kids like Tyler Gibbs, just happened, yesterday. I mean, he parted ways with his team, with the Steve Sims, the SSR TLD Gas team. So he is now back in BC. Says he's going to keep doing the entire series. Says he's going to be at round 1. He's looking for some help. I know that for sure. His name is popping up on other teams as they found out that he's now without a ride. But like you say, he could be a guy. I mean, man, certainly indoors, outdoors, he's got speed.
I put Gibbs. The only reason he's not even in the top 10 right now is because we don't know what he's doing.
We don't know what he's doing. He could show up on a 450, right?
Yeah, we don't know that. So I'm keeping him out of the conversation because we don't know what he's doing.
Right.
Tanner Scott is another option, or another guy there that can be up in that top 10. He's young, his first full pro year.
I think he's going to be with Al Dick.
Yeah. I think he's going to be that consistent 10 to 12 guy, and then jump up as the season goes on and gets more accustomed to the bikes, the tracks, everything, the pace. He'll get better as the season goes on.
And then his MVP intermediate teammate, Blake Davies, the Mission Missile out there. This kid, I think he's almost 6'4" now, for goodness sake. He's a young kid too, 14, 15 years old.
Yep, Nuke loves him. Nuke's always talking about him, and the Mission Missile out there. So he's he'll do well, and we'll see if I think he's going to do all the rounds too. He's going to go out east, so that's cool. We have guys like
and he'll be doing all the Transcan qualifying and stuff like that too. The West Can, the E-Can, the Transcan.
Yep. So then we've got guys like Zach Euphem for on the Man Luck team now. Really kind of just an extra guy that's going to be in there. I think he's going to be cracking that top 10. He's got good bikes, good program. He's been with Quinn all winter riding. So.
I think there's an argument could be made he's up in that group, that second group we mentioned. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
see how he's doing.
We'll have to wait and see. And then we've got obviously the elephant in the room, Justin Bogle. Justin Bogle will not be competing the first 2 rounds at least, from what we're hearing. He was the big talk of how's he going to do? Is he going to wax everybody? Is he going to, where is he going to fit in? And then, obviously gets hurt pretty bad, and now we're hearing it won't be the first 2 rounds. Supercross is going to be a big World Supercross is going to be his focus, and then we're going to see where he goes from there. I hope he shows up, because it's going to bring some buzz. U.S. Media as well are going to be interested in how he does.
Yeah.
So I really hope he shows up even for Sandley, Riverglade, Walton, kind of stuff like that. I doubt he'll race Gopher. Coming off the injured reserve, you're not going to show up and race Gopher, but hey, maybe you will.
You never know. Yeah, I guess I've been talking with the team and everything. They're leaving it up to him. I mean, he's coming back. He isn't even able to be on a bike right now. Obviously, like you said, World Supercross is going to be his focus for sure. Love to see him up here. It will be kind of fun to see for sure. But I guess don't hold your breath. I guess it was kind of what the bottom line is there for Justin Bogle. So. And we mentioned the fact that 252 stroke stuff is wide open. It kind of was already, but now Americans can come up and ride. Maybe we see some guys show up.
I think we will. Maybe they're on 2 strokes, maybe they're not. Maybe they're on 250Fs. But with the border being open again, we're getting back to that pre-COVID situation where at any weekend, I know a lot of guys should show up at Gopher or Walton or any of those races. Sandley, there's some guys I remember back in the day double classing. I don't know how the series align, but. Maybe hopping up and making the drive to do other rounds. I think we're going to see a few sleepers like that for sure. Yeah,
I hope so. I hope we do. I mean, when I was down south, at the practice tracks and stuff, I always mentioned it, and they're like, "Oh wow, two stroke." The fact that 252 stroke thing kind of got a lot of people. So hopefully we do see that. That'd be kind of fun. Whether they're on 4 strokes or 2 strokes would be it's just nice to have obviously deeper field, more excitement to watch and everything. So, all right, Greg, we got to do it. Let's do let's finish this up. I think we covered everything there in the little bit of groupings there.
Yep.
Let's get your top 3 in the series. What do you think? Motocross series.
I'm going Piccolo, Natsky, McNabb.
You're going Piccolo, Natsky, McNabb.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go Natsky, Piccolo, McNabb.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And again, hey, wrong. Sorry to anybody we didn't pick there. Don't get mad.
So you got to pick somebody. We got to fit 3 guys. I mean,
we already put 20 guys in the top 6.
Yeah, I think at any point, either one of those top 3 guys are going to be in championship talks. It's going to be at any point. It really just depends as the season goes on. We only have 9 rounds outside outdoors, but it could be Piccolo, it could be Natsky. Is Natsky's perseverance and maturity going to shine through? Is Benoit going to grab some moto wins? Where's McNabb going to show up on the KTM? He's a big KTM guy, although he spent a lot of time on Honda's last few years. We know Piccolo's got a solid program this year. He's fit. He's ready to prove himself. He's kind of laid back and hanging out. I've hung out with those guys a lot the last little while, and he's pretty quiet. But I think he's going to be the guy that comes out and really puts it to them. But like I said, I want to see some good racing.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be a shortage of that in the 250 class for sure. I think we're going to be we could be totally wrong. We could be right on the money. You never know, right? But again, it's so close. I think with those guys that it's going to be a good battle right through the season. And
absolutely,
some guys will be great, like McNabb racing himself back into shape with that injury. Other guys coming off racing Supercross. Other guys have been off. Other guys dropping down from the 450 class. So there's just a lot of little storylines that keep it interesting and are going to put them in the mix, in the conversation throughout the whole season, I think.
Yeah, I truly think that one of the biggest topics of conversation is going to be Benoit. Where does he fit? Does he come out and absolutely blow the doors off everyone? He could. He's done it before. I mean, that was a number of years ago. But like I said, it's never say never. You don't know where he's going to fit in, but I think he's going to be right where we talked about. That's my prediction.
All right. Well, I think we covered the 250 class. Anything else you want to add on that? I think we did it.
Let's drop the gate.
Let's drop the gate. All right. Hey, thanks for watching that. And we'll move on to the 450 class.